As we move into 2023, for China's rich and elite, there's not only a fear that the money in their pockets will disappear, but also a growing concern for their own safety. Chinese tycoons have a motto: have a private jet, passport, and foreign bank account ready, and that's their world. Since early December 2022, when the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, abruptly ended its zero-COVID policy, many wealthy Chinese began to travel abroad to inspect real estate or finalize their immigration plans. As Beijing lifts travel restrictions, these wealthy individuals are accelerating their immigration by pouring cash into overseas real estate and assets, potentially leading to more than $150 billion in capital outflows. Today is the first day after the Chinese New Year and the first day of work for the U.S. consulate in Guangzhou. There are many people, about 100 people at a glance. They are basically here to apply for immigration. The non-immigration category is basically for student visas. There are no quotas for tourist and business visas. It's not very inconvenient. Actually, you don't even need to make an appointment, but we made one online anyway, just in case there were too many people trying to get in. But basically, you don't need to do that anymore. And everyone just stands in line? Yes, as you can see, everyone is queuing up in an orderly fashion. It isn't news anymore that China's wealthy are emigrating to foreign countries. But since October 2022, there's been a sudden surge of interest and urgency among the wealthy. According to the UN's Global Migration Report 2020, the number of Chinese immigrants has exceeded 11 million by 2020, with many in the range of 100 billion renminbi in assets. On December 26, 2022, amidst the epidemic tsunami, the CCP decided to open the border and resume processing travel visas on January 8, 2023, among other things. Also on December 26th, the number of searches and keyword mentions of immigration on the Chinese social media WeChat almost quintupled, reaching over 110 million. On January 25th, Bloomberg reported that a senior associate at a Canadian immigration law firm said, "I would say people have really had enough in the last 6 months. As a result, we've seen a spike in consultation bookings. Now we have clients from China who are willing to move, and they want to move as soon as possible." The CEO of the Asia-Pacific division of Netizens SA, a French foreign trade bank, told Bloomberg that China faced about $150 billion a year in capital outflow before the COVID-19 pandemic. But this number could be higher by 2023 because people could not travel abroad in the past 3 years. Her calculations were derived by looking at unexplained discrepancies in global travel data and an estimate of the amount of money Chinese tourists would permanently hold overseas. She said China will face a large outflow of capital this year, which could put pressure on renminbi and the current account. If many people cannot take out their money, the capital flight may not be any larger than in previous years, but it could still affect labor, productivity, and growth. To prevent capital outflows, the Chinese Communist authorities are currently very strict on foreign exchange management and cash. Banks in China are all closed. Now it's difficult to withdraw cash even if you go to Hong Kong. I just left Hong Kong, and now I'm in Shenzhen, a city in mainland China. Speaking of my experience, I've been to Hong Kong dozens of times. Previously, when I went to Hong Kong, I could take out cash with any bank card. But this time, some cards work, but most don't. They can't take out any money. If you say 10,000 Hong Kong dollars is too much and won't let me have it, that's fine. But I couldn't even get 5,000 Hong Kong dollars or $2,000. That is $250 US. What is the intention of these banks? Are they trying to help me save money? Who can explain it to me? It's too difficult to withdraw money. I recommend that when you go to Hong Kong, you should bring cash because it would be too difficult to withdraw money. I used to be reluctant to bring cash when I go out. I am forced to bring cash with me now as there is no other way. Average people don't have as many cards as I have. In addition to credit cards, I have several debit cards. Some debit cards have more than 100,000 renminbi and some 200,000 renminbi. but they can't be withdrawn. I can only sigh. So remember, don't deposit all the money in the bank in the future. You still need to keep some cash and gold in hand.
到哪个国家能换钱，你懂的。
This is a bank's electronic screen display information. Financial industry standards, renminbi notes aren't suitable for circulation, effective on March 1st. The mass exodus of wealthy Chinese began in 2022. According to New World Health, the global data intelligence partner of Henley & Partners, an investment immigration advisory firm, about 10,800 wealthy Chinese emigrated in 2022, the most since 2019 and second only to Russia. The firm now finds that in the days following China's reopening in January 2023, inquiries from Chinese individuals about emigrating more than quadrupled compared to a week earlier. A Hong Kong-based immigration lawyer who advises wealthy Chinese clients told Bloomberg that the truly wealthy have had contingency plans in place for years, and that those who are now looking for immigration options tend to be of smaller wealth sizes, including the upper middle class, entrepreneurs, and senior executives. Places like the United States and Japan are where these wealthy individuals are looking for overseas private equity and real estate investment opportunities. As wealthy individuals begin to seek overseas investments, private banks have been building their service desks to handle capital flows. As the people familiar with the matter revealed, banks such as JP Morgan Chase and Julius Baer have staffed desks in the San Francisco Bay Area and other locations such as Zurich, respectively, with Mandarin-speaking employees. A spokeswoman for Julius Baer confirmed that the bank has Mandarin speakers on its team in Switzerland to serve wealthy clients in the Asia-Pacific region. Singapore is another hot country for wealthy Chinese to defect to. As reported in the Financial Times in October 2022, a senior partner at Dentons, a Singapore-based law firm with 6,000 employees in China, said that Chinese tycoons have been instructing and inquiring about setting up family offices in Singapore over the past few months. Family offices are used by tycoons to manage family assets. According to Citi Private Bank, the number of family offices set up in Singapore rose five-fold between 2017 and 2019, and from 400 at the end of 2020 to 700 at the end of 2021. Not everyone is as prepared as they would like, however. One founder of a U.S. real estate platform for wealthy Chinese says he is struggling with a flood of inquiries as most clients are eager to leave China but have no ready plan beforehand. Immigration companies in Shanghai and Beijing have received a large number of applications for green cards in the category of individuals with extraordinary ability or achievement in the United States. Their waiting time will be faster than that of the super rich who obtain green cards through investment. A European lawyer who has worked with wealthy families in Hong Kong and China said that with Xi Jinping firmly in power, he had received instructions from 3 super-rich Chinese business families to proceed with their fire escape plans. According to one private banker, wealthy people have told him that the communist government has restricted remittances and that the cost of moving money overseas has risen from 1 cent per American dollar spent in the years before the COVID pandemic to 12 cents per dollar spent late last year. But it hasn't stopped those who want to leave China. A principal consultant at a New Zealand immigration firm told Bloomberg that applications from Chinese clients continue to pour in, most of them from the business sector. It's worth noting that they are very urgent and are asking for applications to be approved as immediately as possible. Over the past 2 years, the Xi Jinping administration's crackdown on sectors such as technology, real estate, and education, as well as its push for common prosperity, has spooked the wealthy Chinese. At the opening of the 20th National Congress in October 2022, common prosperity repeatedly appeared in Xi's speeches as a major policy. He made it a part of Chinese modernization and vowed to regulate the mechanism of wealth accumulation and regulate excessive income. This has left the wealthy not only worried about the authorities' rumored higher tax regime in lieu of a charity donation they are being asked to make as a part of the common prosperity policy, but are also increasingly worried about their own safety. A number of high-profile Chinese figures have disappeared from the public eye in recent years for short or long periods of time, most notably Alibaba founder Jack Ma and Xiao Jianhua, the founder of the Tomorrow series, who was tried and sentenced in Shanghai after disappearing for 5 years. Pan Shi-yi is a prime example of a top tycoon fleeing China. On March 20th, 2020, the couple Pan Shi and Zhang Xin was ranked 68th on the 2020 Urun Global Real Estate Rich List with a fortune of 25 billion renminbi, or about $2.7 billion US dollars. Since 2014, Pan Shi and his wife have been selling their real estate projects in Shanghai and Beijing, and in recent years have frequently acquired US assets, including several real estate projects in New York. News of his pulling out of China has been widespread. On September 11th, 2021, Pan and his wife appeared in New York to watch the tennis open. After the event was broadcast live on China Central Television's sports channel in the mainland, the screenshots went viral, leading to the confirmation of rumors that Pan Shi had run away. The Chinese media has exposed Pan's entry into the United States and said that the couple has not left the country since. It's understandable Pan and his wife would flee China. His son, Pan Ri, left Beijing for the United Kingdom on February 2, 2020. In mid-February 2021, China's CCTV reported that 5 PLA officers and soldiers were killed in action during the Sino-Indian border conflict in 2020. But Pan's son claimed on his social media account that at least 1 battalion of PLA troops had been killed in action. Subsequently, Beijing police issued a wanted notice for Pan Ri's detention and urged him to return to China as soon as possible to be investigated. It could be argued that China's wealthy entrepreneurial community has become a provocation and threat to Zhongnanhai in public opinion and in a political environment that's slipping into the Maoist era. The crackdown on Pan's son is also intended to deter wealthy individuals who yearn for the Western lifestyle. In fact, many wealthy Chinese have been planning to move their money abroad for a long time. It was only the seemingly good economic environment in China at the time that made many of them think that they still had a chance to continue making money in China, so they hadn't left the country physically. A report revealing such phenomena appeared on China's NetEase in 2021 with the headline, "In-Depth Exposure of the Escape Plans of China's Top Rich." According to public reports, 10 top tycoons in China have transferred a cumulative $500 billion US dollars in assets to offshore trusts. In 2014, Jingdong Logistics went public on NASDAQ in the US with a company registered in the Cayman Islands. Just 3 days before the IPO, the founder, Liu Qiangdong, had all his stake in Jingdong transferred to the offshore family trust holdings he created. As of the end of 2019, the total value amounted to 33.3 billion renminbi, or 4.9 billion US dollars. Jack Ma did the same thing. As of 2019, Jack Ma holds a stake in Alibaba, but only 0.2% of that was in Ma's personal name. The other 99.8% was controlled by offshore family trusts, overseas charitable foundations, and Cayman holding companies. Offshore trusts accounted for 64.4% of the total. Other tycoons include Sun Hongbing of Sunac, China, who transferred 6.8 billion US dollars. Lei Jun of Xiaomi Corporation transferred 8.3 billion US dollars. Huang Zhang of Pinduoduo transferred 13 billion US dollars, and Wang Xing of Meituan transferred 2.7 billion US dollars. After the tycoons transferred their stocks and properties to the trust, they became the poor in China with little money left. The article also mentions Li Jiaqing, the richest man in Hong Kong. It describes it this way. It was Li Jiaqing who started the offshore trust transfer of assets. He has been preparing it for 20 years by setting up in the UK, relocating to Cayman, and transferring his assets to a family trust. A joke is told. Li Jiaqing and top tycoons alike were in a race together. Everyone thought Li Jiaqing was old with weak legs, but he ended up winning the race. Everyone was surprised. Li Jiaqing laughed and said, "Why did you run only after hearing the gunshot?" Of course, this report was written from the perspective of the CCP. It concludes that according to data published by the World Wealth Research Institute, there are currently 2.06 million people in China with 10 million renminbi in assets and 145,000 people with 100 million renminbi in assets. The country has made them rich. If they don't help the poor, they should at least repay the country, right? But instead, these rich people have chosen to betray and take the money made from China and run away to enjoy their happiness abroad. Hatred of the rich and patriotism has been the prevailing theme in Chinese public opinion over the past few years. This is because the CCP has been trying to put the country and the CCP on the same footing. To love the party is to love the country, and to criticize the CCP is to hurt the feelings of the Chinese people. Therefore, the CCP has created a series of imaginary enemies for the Chinese people, including rich capitalists and foreign countries led by the United States. Over the past 2 years, I've found that I suddenly can't post real videos. For example, when I went to Indonesia some time ago, someone told me that people in Indonesia weren't very friendly to certain people. But after I got there, I found that the people there were really nice. After I posted the information, many Chinese people said I was a licking dog for Indonesia. Then I went to Turkey and found that Turkey was not as bad as I thought or as people said in China. I also think the people here are quite nice, and I encountered a lot of interesting things, but after posting the video, some people said I was kissing up to Turkey. I think these people can only accept a single voice, that is, that foreign countries must be dirty, messy, bad, and must be bad in order for them to accept it. This has led many Chinese netizens to lash out at the rich and famous who are trying to escape. For example, in 2016, a well-known Chinese CCTV host, Ni Ping, praised the beautiful environment of Vancouver, Canada on social media, which triggered an alert among netizens. They unearthed that the hostess had 2 mansions abroad and speculated that she would emigrate to Canada. The hostess later published her passport to prove her innocence, and only in this way did the huge internet storm subside. But the truth is, it is likely that the rich people in China don't care about the mood of the little pink. In November 2022, a video was posted showing a well-known Chinese director, Feng Xiaogong, and his family who live in a mansion. The director's wife is also a well-known movie star in China. The video went viral. The fact that Feng's Weibo account, which had 22 million followers, had been emptied, convinced netizens that he had emigrated. The director responded to the Chinese netizens' outcry by saying, "I have a career in China, my movies are made with a passion for China, and my country has been kind to me, so how could I emigrate?" But then the tipster said he had received confirmation from U.S. immigration officials that in June 2022, they had received an immigration application from 2 Chinese nationals from Beijing, which was suspected of having been approved in August. The names on the application were those of the director and his wife, Xiaogong Feng, Fan Shu. In a recent similar incident, on January 5th of this year, a photo was posted of a renowned Chinese actor, Tang Guoqiang. He attended a party in the United States. The actor, born in 1952, has a long list of credits, including playing the former Communist Party leader, Mao Zedong, in The Long March, a role he has played many times since. In the midst of an epidemic outbreak in China, Mr. and Mrs. Tang appeared in the United States, which has led to a lot of controversies. One netizen wrote, "Old Mao is also in the United States, so now it's really Mao Runzhi." Another name for Mao Zedong is Mao Runzhi. Runxue, or runology, or run philosophy, is an internet buzzword in mainland China that refers to the study of how to leave China and emigrate to developed countries. Celebrities who fled China in the distant past are being remembered by a new generation of young Chinese. In 2022, Chinese-American writer Eileen Chang was dubbed the runaway diva by netizens. This came about in July 1952 when the writer applied to go to Hong Kong on the grounds of continuing her studies in Hong Kong University, which had been suspended due to the war, and then moved to the United States. Almost none of the writers from similar backgrounds who remained in China and welcomed the Chinese Communist Party and government escaped the persecution of the brutal Cultural Revolution. So when faced with the flight of Mao's character, Chinese netizens lamented, "The rich can make a profit, but we proletarians can only rise up and make a revolution."
共产党好，共产党好，共产党的贪官真不少，说一套做一套，全心全意为了自己捞钞票，全国人民大团结，掀起了社会主义反复高潮，反复高潮。共产党好，共产党好，共产党是人民的好领导。说一套做一套，全心全意为了自己捞钞票，全国人民大团结，掀起了社会主义反复高潮。
At the moment, China's economy is sluggish, unemployment is rampant, and people are losing confidence. Even if Chinese people have savings in their hands, they don't know where to invest them in order to protect their hard-earned money from rapidly shrinking due to inflation.
Just
now, I talked to a friend who works in one of the big 4 banks' headquarters. I asked him directly, are there no wealth management products worth buying now? He nodded his head. I asked, there is none? He replied, 2 days ago, an internal letter seems to suggest only dollar-related products might still be considered.
好像跟美元有关的那些可以考虑一下。
Thus, in China, not only the rich and officials, but also ordinary people are trying to find ways to leave mainland China. Some of the most popular online phrases in 2022 include Runxue, let it rot, and lie flat. Together, these words express people's frustration with the current social situation and their hopeless belief that there is nothing they can do to improve it.